Shut you the asshole!
Hey everybody, the old captain here. We're all echoey because we're in the toilet. We're not in the toilet. We're in the bathroom. The toilet is over there. Well, you know, in the toilet. Anyway, a young man wrote in and he says, "Hi Cappy, I just finished reading your book Reconnaissance Man, and I thoroughly enjoy the read. I'm living in Los Angeles, and it inspired me to get the hell out of here one day. With all those years of traveling around the U.S., I want to see if you could compile a list of your personal top 10 cities and towns in the United States, ranked in order, especially why each city is ranked on each spot. Rank them with the account for personal freedom, gun laws, low taxes, economic growth, politics, culture, people, livability, beautiful scenery, hot wind, and your personal preference, just overall fun shit to do, etc. Feel free to add honorable mentions if you like. Please make this a video request. Thank you." I said, well, look, if you want me to list it based on all those things and come up with an algorithm, it's going to be $300. I said, if you just want me to give you the top 10 list, and I'll tell you some reasons why, because they don't all fit into this nice little Google algorithm, it only costs you $35. He said, okay, asshole, it is. So instead of 300, paid 35. And these are the top 10 countries. Cities the old captain likes. I had to actually sit down and think about, because there's a lot, and keep in mind, these are just my personal favorite. If you're a 20-year-old kid and you still got a couple years in college, I'd be recommending different things. But in terms of towns I like the most, this would assume you're done with college, you want to find a place to plant roots and start establishing yourself, get a job, get a career, or at least call it your home base of operations, especially if you're more like me, a vagabond type, and you work remotely. You don't have to be in a particular town. These are the towns that be for you. But otherwise, if you're going to college, it all depends on the person. But just again, this is the top 10 of Old Cappy. So, first one, Denver. This one I cannot recommend enough, especially if you are young and not making a lot of money. It is increasingly a leftist shithole, as all the pot smokers and dope heads and idiots and morons come from California. And that doesn't include the marijuana smokers. I'm just kidding. Anyway, all the potheads and all the California dipshits are moving there, and they're turning it into a leftist state. You can avoid these people. The reason I emphasize on you going there when you're younger is because you're not going to be paying that much in taxes. So the politics, you're really not going to be interested in the politics. I wouldn't even say you're not necessarily interested in the people. But what you are interested in Denver is that it is ground zero for everything. In my book, Reconnaissance Man, I talk about how it's like the true adult playground of the world. You have hiking, kayaking, whitewater rafting, rappelling. There's a racetrack. There's hang gliding outside of Golden. It's a suburb of Denver. There's brew pubs. There's whiskey pubs. You have a major metropolitan area right there. If you're sick of that, you just go right into the mountains. And then in the state itself, Colorado is awesome. There's every type of climate. There's desert. There's snow-capped mountains year-round. There's ancient Indian dwellings. There's hiking. There's fossils. It's just probably the number one place I'd recommend. If I was young and I didn't want to continue living in my sweltering, swampy shithole in Florida, or my icicles off my testicles fucking place in Minnesota, I would go to Denver, because it's a world-class, first-class city with everything you need. Schools, food, everything, salsa, everything's there. And if you're sick of the city, you just leave fucking town and go hike in the mountains. So that's one for Denver. The politics, if you made more money, yeah, get the fuck out. Then you have those socialists pay for your education. You say, thank you for the degree from the Colorado Schools of Mines and Engineering. I'm out of here. And then you go headquarter in Las Vegas. And then you visit Colorado. But if you're not making any money, hell yes. Be a fucking ski bum. Go chase after drunk, stupid girls. Absolutely. Colorado is great. Where you're probably going to end up finding me will be Rapid City. That is not a terribly exciting town if you're young. But if you're old, or you don't have kids, or you just like hiking in areas that don't lack oxygen, I know that doesn't mean a lot, but if you get altitude sickness, like if you like to hike mountains, but at 12,000 feet you lose breath and you start getting a pounding headache, which is what happens to me, I would consider the Black Hills area of South Dakota. Rapid City is the largest town there. The town itself is nothing exciting. Matter of fact, it's kind of a crap hole. But it's a big enough town that there's a couple Walmarts. There's enough music. There's enough cosmopolitan stuff to keep me interested. But my real love and passion is the Black Hills. I like the fossil hunting. I like the agate hunting. Badlands National Parks. The mountains do not break 8,000 feet, so I can hike them and not die or get a pounding headache. If I really want to tackle real mountains, all I have to do is drive another 90 minutes to the west, and I'm in the Bighorn Mountains. That's if you have your guns to shoot all the hicks that you're going to run into along the way, and a plow at the end of your truck to plow through all the fat single mothers that clog the interstate by Gillette, Wyoming. Anyway, that's just me, and you want my own personal opinion. Would I recommend it for young people? Not really. If you were... What the hell is that? That's gum. If you were a quiet farm girl type and you just wanted to go to school and get your degree, Black Hills State University, absolutely. Or the South Dakota School of Mines, great school if you want to get into geology, petroleum engineering, something like that. That's what I recommend. But outside of that town, there's nothing. I mean, you got to kind of like being alone. There'll be a lot of people during tourist season, but wintertime it gets cold. And even the old captain would not stay there in wintertime. I would be going down to Vegas or someplace warm or Phoenix like that. But, you wanted what I wanted. That's Rapid City is my favorite town. But that's only because I've only been there during summer. Moab, Utah. If you have money and you like being alone, or you don't mind the constant presence of trust fund baby boomers, old people, go to Moab. The thing with Moab is you're not going to be going to Moab for the town of Moab. You're going to be going for the area around it, specifically Arches National Park, which you could kind of look at. And then the real reason I like it, Canyonlands National Park. That is my favorite national park in the world. It would take me at least a year to fully hike it and be done with it. I could definitely spend many summers in Moab, many falls and springs because it's a little bit warmer. And as I forgot to mention in Rapid City, like Moab, just the most beautiful motorcycle riding out there. If you remember, it's a little bit further away, but Monument Valley, it's that scene from Forrest Gump where he stops running and they're in the desert and you have that Wile E. Coyote stuff in the background. That's kind of the area you're talking about. Basically, what Moab meets at is where the Green and Colorado rivers meet, and they start forming the Colorado River that forms the Grand Canyon. So this is the beginning of the Grand Canyon, but Canyonlands National Park, sorry, it blows away the Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon's big, oh, there it is, but it's not as beautiful or as ornate. And there's only one river running through it. Canyonlands has two major ones, and it's just amazing. It is pricey as fuck to live in Moab. This is kind of your Sedonas or Santa Fe's. Not sure if you're aware of those towns, but a lot of old, rich trust fund babies of the baby boom generation have gone out there and they bought, I'm going to start a coffee shop in Moab, and we're going to have cheap, rentals. It is pricier than fuck. Like, I had to ride through a rain, sleet storm on my motorcycle to get to Moab. And the reason I didn't stop is because I paid $250 fucking dollars. I'm like, I don't care. We are getting that hotel. So it is very expensive. So definitely visit it. Living there, if I made $1 billion, then I'd go buy a place in Moab. And frankly, I wouldn't talk to any of the people. I would just be out hiking every day. And everybody owes it to themselves to at least go and visit Moab and see those two parks, Canyonlands and Arches, and then drive Highway 128 back up to the interstate. Las Vegas. This is the town I will probably make my headquarters once the girlfriend stops being an adult and stops having a real job. Las Vegas, you're in Nevada. No state income taxes. It's warm. I wouldn't live there during summer. I've been there during summer, and that's when you would go up to Rapid City or Minneapolis or visit your parents in Milwaukee or whatever. You go back up north, go to Montana. Beautiful. You don't stay there during summer, but during winter it's nice. And the other thing about Las Vegas, everybody thinks, oh, it's the city. Oh, the gambling. No. There's so much shit to do outside of Las Vegas, the gambling strip. There's hiking. There's shows, there's food, there's a whole other culture, there's a whole other town to Las Vegas that is just outside of the Strip. Also for me personally, again, great motorcycle riding. You are within 4 hours in any direction of the world's most amazing, beautiful scenery. There's Arizona. Phoenix is 4.5 hours away. The Grand Canyon is 4. Zion National Park is 2. Moab is 5 or 6. If you want to go to California, you can. I personally hate California, and I hate Californians. I hope it erupts and falls into the Pacific, or I hope they secede. And I'm not joking. I really hope they secede. But if you want to go to California, it's only, well, the state line is only like 45 minutes away, but the major metropolitan area is only 4.5 hours away. But it really is the no state income taxes, along with Rapid City. Rapid City does not have state income tax because it's in South Dakota. That's why I like Las Vegas. The other reason I like Las Vegas is I have trouble sleeping at night. And unlike New York that claims to be, it's the city that never sleeps, New York does fall asleep. Vegas doesn't. If you get bored, there is always something going on in Vegas. The other thing I like about Vegas is the constant turnover. Restaurants, shows, performances, they always are cycling in and out. New venues are always opening up in Vegas, which I know you think when you're 20, like, oh, what, new restaurants? Yeah, it actually does get that important because you're like, if you stay in one town, like I have in the Twin Cities, nothing is new. You've done it. It's just like, fuck. Do you want to go out? No. Why? Am I going to go to that bar I've been to 13 times before? Vegas, there's always going to be something new. And it has the best entertainers, the best performers in the world, I'd say. What about Hollywood? Fuck Hollywood. You can't just go and watch Hollywood. You see it on the screen. If I want to see theaters, plays, comedy, Vegas is the place to be. And every month there's going to be something new. So if you are kind of more type A like me, and this is one of the main reasons I'm moving to Vegas, it's just there's something new to do every month. And that is a town I think that will outlast you in terms of novelty, interesting things, and new things to do. Phoenix is very nice, great for hiking, again, great for motorcycle riding. Unfortunately, Arizona State does have some taxes. They're not that bad, but they do have state income taxes. Again, you want to avoid it during summer, but Phoenix is just, and then kind of like Vegas, but more in a driving sense. You can drive pretty much anywhere and find some amazing stuff. There's great hiking in Tucson. You go down to Bisbee. You can go up north to Vegas. You can go to the Grand Canyon. You go to Flagstaff, Humphreys Peak, the Superstition Mountains. You can do Apache Trail. And I haven't even gotten to Payson. I just visited the Salt River. Arizona's a big-ass state, and you think, oh, it's just desert and cactus. No, it ain't. There's 2 levels to it, basically. The northern half, which is the upper plateau, and the lower half, which is where all the desert is. Arizona is a very nice state to check out. Phoenix is the only metropolitan town I consider living in. That doesn't mean Tucson or Flagstaff or Prescott are bad. They just don't have a lot going on for my taste. But I'm afraid what you might run into in Phoenix is it doesn't have the turnover or the novelty that Vegas does. And if you've been here a decade, I think you'll pretty much fully explore the town and what it has to offer. And unless you're like in the Paradise Valley elite, which I think it would last maybe 10 years, and then you'd be like itching to move on somewhere else. Dallas, Texas. Dallas is a fun town. Every time I've been there, I've had fun. The other thing I like about Dallas, and they will claim otherwise, but they have awesome highways. They just keep building. They have more people, and then they build more roads. It's amazing how Texas works. They don't piss it away on welfare bums and pieces of shit. They build infrastructure. Gun laws are great. No state income taxes. You're around a bunch of Republican people. I know there's some Democrats down in Dallas, but they're the minority. And it's just a big classical American city, what it's supposed to look like. Dalton, I think it's Delton, is a suburb where like all the fucking sushi. There's like a sushi, a salsa club, a Chipotle, and a cigar lounge, all within 2 blocks of each other. And I was just like, you're not gonna have there's worse places to live than Dallas. So Dallas, I would definitely consider. St. Petersburg and Tampa Bay, they're one and the same. They're basically just two towns across the street, across the bay from each other. But Tampa and St. Petersburg, Florida. It's not as busy as Miami. Both towns, if you get sick of one, you can go to the other. They are large enough that they have everything that people typically want to offer. Salsa dancing, cigar lounge culture is awesome down there. If you're into boating, you're in heaven. If you're into fishing, you're in heaven. The beaches over Clearwater Beach, which is kind of a suburb of St. Petersburg, are beautiful. Disneyland, if you want to go to, it's right there. And then if you get into boating, you can start hitting the Caribbean islands. You can go down to the Florida Keys. I just like it very much. It's going to be a little slow for some people, though. Again, summer, it's going to be unbearably hot and muggy, so you move somewhere else during summer. But Florida, no state income taxes. But after a while, because St. Petersburg is really just on a peninsula, and it's great to just hang out in St. Petersburg. The architecture is wonderful. The lakeside is beautiful. And you can always go to Tampa, but after a while, if you're young, it's a great place to go. A lot of young people. If you're old, it's a great place to go. If you're my age, in your 30s or 40s, and you're kind of tired of the nightlife and whoop, and you don't want to do that, it's going to be like you're going to go to the same restaurants after a while. You're going to go to the same cigar lounges. And as I've noted again in my book, Reconnaissance Man, read that book. It's a great book that explains this in a lot more detail. You're in the farthest southeast part of the United States. So if you want to go anywhere, you got to fly a long-ass way to get there. And one of the main drawbacks of living in Florida in general is that you're on the wrong side of the country for fun. Florida is flatter than my 6th grade girlfriend. The coolest shit is all the way on the other side of the country, which makes Vegas and Phoenix and Denver and Rapid City, anything on the west part of the Mississippi, a better city in my opinion. But that's not to say that St. Petersburg and cities over in the east side aren't fun. Atlanta is kind of nice too, but it didn't make the list. Just warning you though, it's not going to be for those who are adventuresome. If you're more relaxed, you're more tired, you're more old, you just want to sit, you want to party, you don't like hiking, you don't like exploring, you don't want to ride your motorcycle, you're more for like cast off the line on the boat and chill, that's Florida. You want to go island hopping over the Bahamas, that's Florida. If you want to hike, the highest peak in Florida is a 50-foot slope. It's not even a hill, it just gently slopes up. There's no adventuring really going on in Florida. So if you like good food, you like to sit, you're a little bit overweight, you have no interest in hiking, you have no interest in adventuring, you really like boats, you really like sun, you like to be a sea lion and just bask and sit in the sun, Florida's for you. But if you have the slightest bit of adventure, hiking, exercise, run, it's not going to be for you. Chicago. Chicago is the only one on this list that is a leftist shithole where you're going to hate the politics, but the people of Chicago, especially on the north side, and its culture, compensate for that. The funnest time in my life, take that back. The second funnest time I've ever had in my life was in Chicago. The girls, at least back then, and based on what my agents in Chicago report now, the girls, they're not easy, but they are in for a good time. And by a good time, I mean an old, classical, traditional good time. Like, I did get shot down, but Minneapolis, dude, you would get your ass shot down 9 out of 10 times. Chicago, 1, maybe 2. But every girl I ever asked out in Chicago, 80% of them anyway, said yes. And here's a shocker. They showed up. I know. Because they're in for a good time. So there's a lot of fun stuff to do. The music is unrivaled. You're not going to find better music in here, jazz-wise. Dancing was great. Salsa, swing, you name it. The Lake Michigan is right there. You can go running. There's volleyball leagues. I mean, it is a very active, healthy town. But and then the architecture. That was something that you really don't think about. Architecture, you can really appreciate it in Chicago. And like people in the olden days actually put some time and effort into making their buildings look pretty. The parks are nice. The drawbacks, though, are obvious. You have a shit ton of traffic. You might as well don't even have a car. Just don't get a car. There's no reason to have a car. It's going to be expensive. You're going to need a job that pays a lot to live there. You basically don't go to the south side, not out of fear of crime. There's just nothing to do on the south side. There's Chinatown. There's Hyde Park, where you have the Science and Industry Museum, all these museums. There is genuine culture in Chicago, too, by the way. You go there, but you're not, don't go to the south side. It's like, okay, don't go south of Hyde Park. And by the way, you wouldn't, because there's nothing to go to. And then, what was it? The politics. Crime is obviously a little bit higher. But man, it's just, even people that were not, they were leftists, they were not conservatives or libertarians, you at least would have a good conversation with them because they're intellectually honest about it. I just really like the people of Chicago. I've never had a bad time in Chicago. And again, if I had $1 billion, I might buy a condo near a Shaughnessy's so I can go and harass my crew in Chicago. Because Chicago is just, it's that good and that fun of a town again, but it's because of the people. And I'm pretty sure, based on what my friends have reported, the girls still seem to be really cool. They may be left-leaning, but they're not going to be these, well, I'm sure there are some rabid feminists over there at the university system, but most of the girls that I ran into, it's like, holy shit, you got a job? And like, you're going to show up and you want to have fun? All right, let's go have fun. They were always fun. They were just fun. Sometimes sex occurred, sometimes it didn't, but they were always fun. And it was like, yeah, let's go run, let's go dance, let's go to jazz. And I think what it was is that they were classy ladies, is really what I really liked about, among many other things, but that's something I really liked about the women of Chicago. They are classy. They were how women should be, and that they showed up on time. They of course, could have been the 90s, and the girls would dress up that way anyway. They dress up, they show up on time. It was, no, I just remember it was a breath of fresh air after dating those fucking cunts in Minnesota. And also you go to Chicago, it's like, hey, do you want to go dancing? Yeah? Oh. And then they show up, you're like, wow, you showed up. And they're like, well, yeah. And it's like, wow, that doesn't normally happen. Never mind, I will take advantage of this fact and we will go have a good time. So, Grand Junction, Colorado. Grand Junction is on the other side of Colorado from Denver. This is if you don't want the large Denver lifestyle, but you still want access to the hiking and the nature aspects of Colorado, but in a smaller town that's a little bit warmer. It's on the other side of the Rockies. And it's conveniently close to Moab, so if you'd like to visit Moab, you can. This is, again, kind of like Florida, where you're going to be on your own, you're going to be by yourself. It's not for young 20-somethings to party. It's not for go-get-em 30, 40-year-olds in the middle of their career. But if you're a retired couple, or you're just kind of a loner, and you like to go and you like to hike, and you like to enjoy the outdoors, and you want some semblance of a city that has a Walmart or something like that, I would go to Grand Junction, Colorado. Again, you're not going to necessarily spend all your time in Grand Junction. It's a fine town. But it's where it's located. Cortez is just about 2-3 hours to the south. Ouray, which is a nice little resort town, is about 3 hours away. A lot like Vegas, you have all access to all these great little towns and hiking and biking, and so you can go skiing. You're just in this great little town, nestled at the base of the Rocky Mountains. And then for the last position, although it's tied between Fargo and Salt Lake City, and you say Fargo, right? Like, yeah, Fargo. Fargo is a nice, old school 1950s town. It's nice architecture. Parking is easy. I don't even think you have to pay for parking in downtown even. Jobs are plentiful. Nice place to raise a family. I don't think they have income taxes in North Dakota. It's cold as fuck. It's cold as fuck. It's colder than Minnesota. I mean, I remember we're sitting there in Minneapolis, and you look and you see what's happening, and there ain't no fucking trees to stop the goddamn snow. You're going to be in miserable conditions for 4 months out of the year. All that being said, the quality of people are very high quality. No crime. It's a big enough town. There's somewhat of a cosmopolitan. They have one Asian restaurant that I know of that's really good downtown. I used to know the buddy would host the dance classes there. It's big enough and it's remote enough that if you want a true piece of Americana that hasn't been spoiled with mildly race syphilis and fucking 31 flavors of gender and fucking Black Lives Matter and all this other fucking leftist crap, if you want to see what the United States looked like in 1955, go to Fargo. Just don't expect any excitement. I mean, the girls now, hey, the girls actually were surprisingly pretty. I mean, me and my buddy Johnny Fargo were like, what the hell is going on here? Like, wow. It's because of the college campuses nearby. I've never dated a girl from Fargo. I did have one stand me up. That was fun, driving 3.5 hours to get stood up. Oh, why do you hate women? I don't. I just don't trust them. But if you're looking to raise a family and you don't mind the cold, Fargo is a great place to go. Then there's Salt Lake City, and it's kind of the same but different. Salt Lake City is nestled right in an amazing area. You got the Great Salt Lake. You got 3 mountain ranges within you. Some, I think, are like 13,000 feet. Skiing is amazing. Major metropolitan area. You can fly in and out, no problem. Get a plane. You can go snowmobiling. You can go four-wheeling. You can do whatever you want in Salt Lake City. It's just weird because of the Mormons. And weird, I mean like weird rules, weird ordinances, weird laws. You could carry your guns. You can do things. You can have premarital sex. But just like, I remember going to the bar, I'd like a double Rumplemans. And I was like, I can only pour you one at a time. And it's like the needle going off the record, like, what? And I have to watch me pour it. And I'm like, all right, I'll drink one. Now can I have another? I had to pay separately. Just some weird rules because of the Mormons. And not necessarily Mormons, but the uber Christianity aspect of Salt Lake City and the Mormon influence there. If you marry a Mormon girl, I don't know. But if you're just there on your own and you don't drink and you're not a party animal and you're more of an outdoorsy guy, Salt Lake City is the place to go. I don't know how many. See, I like people with vice. I like the sinners. Heaven is going to be boring as fuck because there will be no sinners there. I want to hang out with Lucky Luciano, Al Capone, El Chapo when he dies. I want you think about who do you want to play poker with? It ain't gonna be fucking, what's his name? Jimmy Falwell? Was that the good guy or was he a TV evangelist? I like to have a cigar. I'd like to have a double shot. And I'd like to have not a fucking nanny state. So if you're a teetotaler, I think you'd be alright. If you're not looking for like, hey, let's go get cigars and you're spanking a girl's ass in public, and it almost felt a little bit like Switzerland where I was afraid to spit because I might get a fee. And they definitely do give you speeding tickets in Switzerland if you go 2 miles an hour over. And it's a little too many rules for me. But if you drive really slow, you drive a Buick, you don't have vice, and you just, you're one of those more disciplined type of people. You're just a better person than me. Maybe I'd consider looking at Salt Lake City. Anyway, those are the top 10. You say, are those the only ones you've ever been to? No, I've been to Portland, I've been to Seattle, I've been to LA, I've been to San Francisco, I've been to New York. Fuck those towns. Just fuck them. So it's not like these are the only ones I have experience with. I'm giving you the ones I've had experience with and I had good experiences with. And I think most people should consider at least visiting. You at least owe yourself to visit these towns and maybe see if one of them are for you. If that's not for you, please read my book, Reconnaissance Man. The last chapter is basically me go over and over the entire United States as to where you may want to think about living, going to school, and working in the last stage of a 5-stage book on how to organize and structure your life and figure out where you should go to work, where you should live, where you should be, and what you want to do. It's very theoretical and self-involving and all that. Very good book. But if you want something a little bit more than this video and something a little bit more methodical to find out where you belong in this country, in this world, get that book, Reconnaissance Man. It really, because again, this is just old Aaron's list, not your list. And that book does kind of guide you through the thought process and the decisions you have to make to find out, hey, where do I belong? Once you figure that out, it's pretty amazing how everything else falls in place. Anyway, if you guys got any questions, go to Asshole Consulting at assholeconsulting.com. I got my blog at captaincapitalism.blogspot.com. I have my other books. You can always search those. Just look up Aaron Clary at Amazon. And then I do something else. What the fuck do I do? Oh, the podcast. The Clary Podcast. That's available on SoundCloud.com. Best of luck to all of you. Tools.